Story number 5. How drugs have somehow crept into a lot of folks' everyday life. Folks, there's been stories surfacing. I hate to look at some of this, but because there's a lot of people on drugs, and they were talking about how the U.S. drug czar traveled to China because he had to press the government to stop trafficking fentanyl. You have to ask yourself is because most of the drugs are not made in America. You have to ask yourself is this has this happened on purpose? Was this by design that somehow the United States end up being such a big drug consumer? And you have to ask yourself at the end of the day is when you look at even in the medical field and how they're talking about how a lot of generic drugs now have people wondering, are they safer than name brand drugs? So you look at this drug market and you have to it is, especially in some of these stories, it's like, is this a conspiracy? Did this happen? Is somebody secretly plotting to drain the US by getting everybody on drugs, getting everybody high? And then you have to look at how it affects the military, how it affects homeland security. People will steal for drugs, people get raped. People these drugs are addictive. People in pain, they want drugs. And you look at this story and how it's up to number 5. People are on heroin. They're on they're getting lifted, and they're getting lifted and they're not looking at what's happening around them. I mean, it's bad. I'm looking at you look at there was a story I think in the surface on the East Coast about a man who was telling about, they were talking about the marijuana industry and how they're trying to infiltrate the marijuana industry by making it legal, and how some of these places, and then this man was heated. He said this is personal. His family was destroyed by it, and now you want to legalize it and make money off of it? Folks, this is real. Are we selling ourselves to the devil? These are real deal stories, folks. If you're listening, you're tuning in. You could do this. You could do the research yourself. You could find these stories, and this drug game, this money war, and what people have done to society. This is ruthless. Like I told you, there are people who have a natural hatred for this country, and it's showing on a mass scale. I said, if you want to see the stories, I put them up on the website. Like I said, that's story number 5. How drugs have somehow crept into a lot of people's everyday life, folks. Everyday life. If you want to contribute, you're the Mediator to be Brian West, where it's my supreme duty every week, fighting hard to give you the top 8 headlines developing news stories. If you want to help out, all you have to do is visit www.method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just then dial your operator. Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.